I got to get this ready too.
And I made a conscious effort. Hold on. I use the camera. That I am not touching the light. However it looks when we turn it on, that's how it's
Well,
staying.
just because Let It Go hasn't been in here, and she would tell us.
She would let us know. Nobody else will be honest with us
Yes.
about how shitty our lighting is. But I am gonna make it a little dimmer. I already broke my.
She broke the rule.
It's not.
It looks good. You can tell the difference right away.
Looks good. Hey, Karen. So, Karen, I was telling Sean how we were talking in our thread about breakfast. I don't successfully get up for that, but Sean, hey, Khaki, Sean loves Stouffer bowls, and he likes eating it, and then we use the plastic bowl. See, Karen told us. So,
What?
but here's the thing. So Karen and Loretta were talking. Hey, Loretta, and they were talking about what because Karen is getting quite a few eggs every day.
Mm-hmm.
So are we.
They're like little gold nuggets.
Yeah, I know. You can sell them like gold. But so Loretta, I found out, makes her hubby French toast for breakfast every day. Hey, X.
Hey, Table. Hey, Misty.
So that's cool. But she says she pre-makes it. And my son's also texting, so I'm watching that. My son's got some crazy friends on Facebook.
Was he talking about his one friend there?
Yeah, because I said
because it was on Facebook where it shows.
That's what I told him. I said, Sean says it's anyway. Karen does every day, makes him egg burritos every day. Hey, Michaela, every single day she makes her man egg burritos and egg sandwiches to take to work. There we go. I got it all out. I finally focused my brain.
Okay, and so Mandi asked me, she says, so what about your mornings? And I said, I try not to wake her.
I was thinking about it.
I'm very quiet, so
not every day. That seems to be a recurrent thing in my life and has been for a very long time. Is I've never gotten up and I guess because really like when you're in the military, you wouldn't make breakfast because there's
it was
PT.
early. It was very early.
But you wouldn't make it.
Yeah, right.
So there's a split. Now when I did home daycare, I did because I was already making it for the kids.
When I would wake up for PT, especially when I lived in housing, you had to be, you had to be there 6:30 or 6 o'clock or whenever your PT started. I'd leave that house at 8 minutes before PT.
Did Jessica make your breakfast?
She's probably still up.
She was like, "You want some cereal?"
She might still be out, but
all in good fun. All in good fun.
But you didn't even have to wake up. You throw your PTs on and you not even brush your teeth because you're going to come back after you worked out. And
you didn't even brush your teeth before PT? Did you shave? You had to shave before PT, right?
I shaved, but it's combat arms. We ran the booze out.
The what?
You'd be running and you could just, especially on a Monday, you'd get out there and you'd run 5 miles and you just smelled like a Budweiser factory in there and people would be bad.
And you'd be like, "Oh, you had pizza last night."
Look at
that was Saturday. That's
funny. It's a different world in the combat arms.
It probably is.
Yeah.
It probably is. Those of you
your son knows.
Yeah, my ex was not combat arms. He was finance. He was a proud Sean calls him a change counter. But everybody's got to have change, right? Until your pay gets fucked up, and then if you know a finance guy, that's your favorite.
Right. I'm not saying this because it's her ex, but we used to call them REMFs. REMF, a REMF. That's a rear echelon motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's what we call them. And there's no,
but he was like, everyone wants to make fun of him until your pay's fucked up, or you owe a big debt that you want them to prorate.
Or then everybody wanted to make fun of the cook until you get to go to the chow hall. And then that cook is your best friend.
Look, okay, so this is, I couldn't find the watermelon, I guess it's aloe. It was next to it, and it was.
I don't think it's aloe. I think it's watermelon pulp that's in there.
So I haven't tried it yet. It doesn't have alcohol or anything in it, but I always have to double check when I find something new because I'm like, I double check because I've always wondered if I didn't catch it, and I drank half of it. I mean, the program says if you didn't drink it because you
get
was
your
an
toy. Go
accident.
get
That's
it.
one thing.
Go get your toy.
There was a lady one time that came in and she had she kept coming back in. She tried to get it right. But like one of the first times she came back in after they call it going out, meaning you left the pro and did whatever, and she came back and she tried to say that she ordered a virgin daiquiri and that they brought her the wrong drink. And before she knew it, she had drank the whole thing.
The whole thing.
So she was like, well, and so I was like, well, I've already ruined my sobriety date and just whatever. And I was
I'm
like,
just going to tie one on.
I was like, you do know nobody believes that. Your family might. I don't know. Nobody here does.
It's like when
Hey,
you,
Jocelyn.
when you don't like your food and like the waiter comes up and you're like, my hamburger my steak is that's a little bit too done, and they look down, it's just the bone. And
Yeah.
it's like, but you ate it.
I don't send nothing back at a restaurant. Oh,
No.
open it before it squirts
Before
everywhere.
you break another nail.
I know. Sawyer Brown.
Look at him sticking his snout in there.
You know you're not going to like that, Sawyer Brown.
Sawyer Brown, come here. You want to say hi to everybody? You want to say hi?
Y'all, it's good.
Sing for us, Sawyer. Sing. Is it good?
I love love.
Anyway, it is really good. Okay, so I went and picked I picked up my mother-in-law. She was discharged from her thing today. And it's funny because he's like, "Are you showing everybody?" Look at him. He's a very calm. I'll let you show him before
All right.
because I always feel like I'm distracted.
Don't look back at me. Look over here.
Look over here.
Look right here.
Say hi to Michaela. Say hi to Stitching. You got an underbite?
What are you doing?
He's so cute. Anyway, the person that we got him from, I've said it before on Instagram. It's Our Divine Pups, I think is what it's called, or Divine Pups or whatever. I follow him. Let me tell you something. So I said she is a reputable breeder, but she when she has a litter, she has it like a little nursery that she's got, and she'll play lullaby music, and you can watch them. It's
her whole
so
Suburban,
cute.
the back of her Suburban or whatever she had was all set up.
It was so cute. And but yesterday I was really looking at her views because she's got a whole curriculum that she does. That's why they're so personable, because she follows a program where from the time that they're born, they're graded in different areas and enhanced. Like if they're it's really cool. It's like literally like a preschool program, and you end up with a pretty personable dog. She charges $3,000 now.
But that's why
we didn't pay that.
That's why you got to bring your other half when
Yes.
she starts that.
It's adorable. But
it's got its old preschool thing. I'd be like, it's a dog, dude.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a dog.
So, but the funny thing is, like I was like, oh, what a cute little. And I look at everyone's what. She had posted a video. What did I say? In like 20 minutes, it had 275,000 views. Mm-hmm. And I was like, her husband is a veteran. I remember that from when we got it. And she was like, it started out as a hobby and it's whatever. And I was like, now he's like, go
do your thing.
do your puppy.
You need another car to do this?
So anyway, it was really funny. So, and she shows the parents, they only have one litter, and then she finds them
Really?
she sells them as well. But yeah, only one litter. And if there is one that's born that's prone to snapping or whatever, she still sells it and finds it at home, but she doesn't use that one.
Oh, to reproduce?
So it's like selective breeding, I guess.
Yeah, you just throw them in.
Anyway, that's a long story to say. That's why he's so personable.
Mandy found out that the dog across the street has the same name as one of our chickens, and that might be why it's very confusing for that dog.
The dog's like, it's a pit bull, and I'm gonna tell you what, that pit bull's not interested in anything that goes on. Not our cat, not anything.
Not the chickens.
So, and I was blaming the pit bull when the chickens were coming up missing, and Sean was like, I don't know, he didn't do it. It was the pug.
It was a little pug taking them.
Anyway, it was funny. So, you had.
The chickens come up all the time at work when I have to go work the front, because right at the little front of my little area, I have a little chicken statue. And it is, we don't watch a lot of news. The whole chicken thing with the price of eggs and the bird flu and all that, it's quite a big deal in the country.
It is. They're very
Yeah.
expensive right now.
People are like, so you lock your chickens up? I said that I free range them, and they're like, people are stealing chickens, and they're pretty serious about it.
There
They're
is a
like,
lock. You can lock it, but we don't.
right.
But if something were to go in there, a person or whatever, Tiny would start his shit, and the other ones would, and we would hear it.
The little white one would be like out in the. We have one of the
one of the
little
babies
babies is a cute little white, like half Brahma, and everyone else will be asleep, and it'll be just sitting out in the little.
It's shut up in its little courtyard.
Yeah, it can't in the courtyard, just kind of hanging out in the middle of the night, and then goes to bed last. But
yeah,
anyway.
It's pretty cool. It's actually really, really cool. Yeah, I love underbites on dogs too. I think it's adorable. Apparently, it's not good for them, like long-term wise, because it dries out. But you know, it's whatever. And you can't show them. They're not show quality if they have an underbite. And we had him signed up. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. We were very disappointed. And if they're like two-tone colors, they're not show quality either. They got to be like a solid
chocolate.
Yep.
I was like, well, we
Sawyer,
love him just the same. We lock ours so the raccoons
you
don't.
can be he's not like a, what do they call it? The Kensington. He's not the Kensington show dog.
Is
He's
it
just
the Kensington?
Is that what it is? What's
I think so.
Or whatever. He's a Dawsonville redneck Shih Tzu. He's just fine like that.
He's totally fine with that.
Yep.
He has his little Trump flag that he. Everybody here, during the election, you saw all the Trump flags. There's still a few like around, but not as many as
We were talking about there's this one place down the street called Lily Farms, and it's a venue that's got a like a man-made lake out front, and they do weddings and all kinds of stuff. But right next to the property is this great big old chicken farm. And so every once in a while, it just smells when the chickens are about ready to go.
We were talking about that the other day.
And how would you like to be spending what do you think it costs to rent that? 20 grand to rent that place? 10 grand to rent that or whatever.
Like that.
I have no idea.
Something like that for a weekend probably.
And you go there to have, your wedding and your reception, and it smells like a chicken coop. You know it's happened a couple of times.
I was thinking about that the other day too. I would imagine they don't schedule events
Maybe
when
not.
the chickens,
But
because
they've
it's
always
right
done
before they go to the
rendering
to
plant
the
or
chicken
whatever.
house. Yeah, that's when the smell is really bad. And anyway, so I would imagine that they try not to, because didn't you say that place that has them is the place that owns
They own both properties. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
He shows me underbite. He gets all the treats. Yeah, that's cute. When Laura tells him to show her his underbite, he gets all the treats he wants. Her grand dog, when it shows its teeth. I used to tell my wolf dog to show her teeth. She's like, I would be like, show your teeth, and she would snarl, and there was saliva. I mean, it was like something out of a movie. And if you've ever seen wolf teeth, they literally they like you see in the canines like come up. And she would do it or whatever, and then
where are they? The incisors or something?
Something like that. So, but it had a video at one time. I don't know where all my videos. Remember Photo Bucket when Photo Bucket was a thing? I have tons of videos and pictures. I can't get into.
You were into all that stuff though, right? Like
it was like MySpace days.
Yeah. Would you have a MySpace?
Yeah.
See, I never had a MySpace.
And I liked it. And the thing is one time I was like, the neighbor was like, there was something called Facebook. It's not as fancy as MySpace, but I use it and whatever. And I was like, looked at it, I was like, that's boring. It won't take the place of MySpace.
So I think I got on Facebook.
Oh, I bet.
It was like 2007.
Khaki put her ex through school working for Tyson in Fayetteville. I heard it's not fun. It's gross. Anyway.
They had a big accident at the chicken rendering plant over here in Gainesville where I guess the gas, like there's a gas leak and it asphyxiated a couple of people. Yeah.
Recently?
Since we've been living here.
That sucks. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. As a matter of fact, I think our friend that worked at that one store, he knew about it. I think it was where he worked.
Is he still? Yeah, he.
No, the one who quit working at the store so he could be a manager over there.
That What is he doing? He's scratching his.
Yeah.
Anywho, so I picked my mother-in-law up. My father-in-law stayed with her last night. Surgery was fine. They didn't end up having to they thought they're going to have to take a molar out to get this thing that, it's kind of interesting, and it goes to show how doctors can work together. Something she didn't even know she had came up on a dental x-ray, like a spot, like, in here, like a
tumor or
yeah, and
something
she didn't
like
even
that.
know it was there. So the dentist was like, I would go to primary care. So she went to primary care, and they said, yeah, definitely you need to go to ENT and have it looked at. ENT biopsied it, and it came back malignant. And then she, so they removed it. She would have, I'm like, how many of us walk around with that?
The
If a
thing
dentist
is
doesn't
she didn't
see
know that there was anything there.
no idea.
And that's
Because it was like,
you say it once, you say it a million times. If you can, if you have the insurance or you use it,
yeah.
go just do routine checks or something, because this thing is like right here.
So they
And
thought
she didn't even feel it. She didn't even know it existed.
They thought that they were gonna have to remove a molar to get it out. They didn't end up. Yeah, it was, and they already knew that, Karen. But now they send it. They don't think it went anywhere else. It was confined to that. But yeah, that's why they were like. That's why they removed it.
She can't talk for a week. They don't want her talking for a week because they don't want it to mess with the
They don't
area.
want the vocal cords to. So she
I can't imagine if you had to have a procedure where you couldn't talk for a week. I mean, a lot of people joke about, oh, they lost their voice and this and that. But if I had, I couldn't stand not having you right here and not be able to hear you talk.
Yeah. I'm wondering
suck.
after she follows doctor's orders for a week and doesn't, I'm curious to see if when she starts again, if they atrophy a little bit and you have to get your voice back. I'm curious to know that.
My dad will probably piss her off, and
Hey,
she's
Lisa.
probably going to try to say something, and he won't get it, and she'll say, have to tell him.
He's like he's so sweet, but
He's
he's a man.
82. He's almost
a man,
83.
And men, we get a cold, they get the flu, the man flu.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I was like, so he stayed with her last night, and then he got like in the car or whatever, and I was like,
hey Lisa.
Yes. And I was like, and I said, I told my mother-in-law, I noticed you were shaking a little bit when you got into the car. Are you in pain, or, are you, just curious? And she was like, kind of just like that she wasn't in pain or so. But it's fun. And so my father-in-law was like, I just from sitting there. Hey, Moxie, just from sitting there.
Hey, Moxie.
He goes, I got up to go down and get some dinner. And I was already, a little bit. And I was like,
Dad,
such a man.
Dad needs me to be around because
it was so funny.
My mom and my wife here, yeah, I could see them ganging up on my dad on that one. So.
But that, how men are, like they're great in there, but they have to be like.
But right, Loretta was like that. Glad they found it. I can't imagine, like, we all have our family structure, and our parents and this and that, and we know my father's 82. He's had a couple heart attacks. He's COVID. We look at him, our patriarch, and he is getting older, and my mother kind of does everything. All of a sudden, my mother had a problem. I mean, Mandi, you'd agree, like how we function within our dysfunction in our family. If my mom was taken out of that, what would happen to my family? Because the rest of it is just guys. It's just my dad, and so it's pretty sobering to think that.
And if they had kept her another night, he was gonna stay. Even though they said that you can only stay one night, a visitor can only stay one night. He was gonna stay the next night. He wasn't gonna go home. And then I was like, at least you get to. So I was like, when she was getting into the car, I was like, that's the best feeling when they wheel you out and you're on your way home, no matter whatever it is.
Well, I felt that way with the colonoscopy too, even though I was just there for a few hours when she put
ready
me
to
in the
go.
little wheelchair and wheeled me out, and Mandi was waiting in the car. And
yes, Jocelyn.
You see how I did that? I made it about me. I'm such a man.
But y'all know what I'm talking about. Men are great, but they It's like they like for women to be like to take care of them and to acknowledge that things are hard for them too.
Yeah, it is.
And I was also like something else, and I asked, I was like, are you hungry? Do you want to stop? What can you eat? And I was talking to my mother-in-law, and he goes, no, I'm good, I just ate before. And I was like, I love you to death, buddy, but I was asking. So cute. Hey, Trash Panda. Yes.
Hey, Trash Panda.
It was funny.
Yep.
The most horrible illness known to man that take out more men every year is the man flu. Women get over it. It's called a cold.
You know what? But you want to see your woman get sick? Take her credit card.
Yeah.
Take the debit card. Say that the PayPal isn't working.
Yeah, you're right, Loretta. Loretta said that her husband didn't realize how much she did until she had been like he wasn't coming home without her. He was gonna stay as many days as he had to stay. He didn't want to go home.
Y'all remember we moved here because my dad got COVID, and my dad was really sick when he got COVID, and we really kind of thought that he got it bad, and we got a super chat. Yay.
Yeah, so don't even worry about it. Thank you for your money, though.
Thank you for your money.
I appreciate
it. So when my dad got sick,
thank you. Yeah, exactly.
And we were all kind of looking at my dad, taking care of my dad, and this and that. Well, then my mother got COVID, and when my mother got the COVID and got sick, that's what made my dad feel better. That's when he got the strength to get over the COVID.
He busted into gear and was like, it was.
And I said before, my dad was like, this is, you you remember, he gave away these car keys, and he showed me where all his, when he passes away, like we don't have firearms and this and that, but I'm the one.
He was giving everything away.
That gets the guns. I'm the one that gets the firearms, and we'll dispose of, I'll probably sell them. But he's got a small collection, and he wouldn't give them to my brothers, but he was telling me where everything was, and his, everything, the tools. And it was a little bit depressing, because it was kind of like he was resigned to, and then mom got sick. And then all of a sudden he's out of bed taking care of her, making soup for her and this and that. And all of a sudden he's like, where's my car keys? He took everything
when he
back,
got back, he was given he was like, we were like, oh, and then he was like, I'm not going to be able to drive anymore. This is it did take
him a long time to get all of his strength back. But yeah, he wasn't going anywhere once he thought mom wasn't 100%. So that was kind of sweet.
It's a crazy time.
I know the couple of times Mandy's, you've been to Texas twice. Was it once or twice?
Once when I moved. No, in July I went again.
So. Yeah, so she's been to Texas, and I have to go with her.
I can't go again without him. My family will be like disown me. They love Sean.
I don't do a very good job of staying in touch with my in-laws. I mean, Mandi kind of speaks for us both, but it's one of the things I feel bad about. But what I do say is, about the third day that Mandy's gone, I start looking around at the house, and I'm like, I can't hold off on cleaning this. I got at least try.
Yeah, we really don't do very well when we're apart.
Yeah. We think we might, but after a couple days, it's like, nah.
Yesterday, I was watching it. This made me think, because Jocelyn's El Salvadorian, a special. I don't even, stuff comes up recommended. I watch it and other stuff, and it was about the Super Max in, where was it? It's called ANX or something like that. It's where they keep the Unabomber, if he's still alive. El Chapo's there.
Out in San Quentin?
No.
It's in New England somewhere? No.
I thought you were listening when I watched it at the same time.
No, but when you talk, I know that Jocelyn is from New England.
Yeah, but that was saying, because that all is going to come clear.
Okay, go ahead. I'll just keep going, babe. It'll come to me.
In about 2 seconds, it's going to.
Okay.
So they were talking about this. So this thing comes up, and it talked about the top. There you go. The top 5 female that have made it to the top or close to the top of some of these drug cartels.
Oh,
and
this
one girl, she was El Salvadorian, they were brutal. She was like, they finally
Oh, they
got
were
her at
talking.
the end.
Okay,
They
yeah,
said she was
young too, pretty young.
like yeah, but she started when she was young, just being an assassin. Like she didn't have any, and nobody suspected. Her name was like La Flaca was her nickname.
I thought Flocka was like some kind of drug.
I think so, but that was her nickname. Hey, Steve. So it was interesting. It was good. Those are some badass bitches. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And Al Chapo's wife is super, super, super young.
Hey, Steve.
And
you know what, Steve?
Was gifted. No, it's okay. He was gifted by the girl's father when she turned 18. Anyway, go ahead.
I know that you tag us in some of your. I have lurked in some of your live streams.
Yeah.
Because you kind of send the link and tag me in it. I'm trying to figure out what y'all are talking about. You know, it's like kind of not really our community, but I'm there, dude. When you add me, I do drop in and lurk. So, one of these times I'll just say hey.
Okay.
I guess.
Is it like sports stuff or what is it?
No, it's drama stuff, but it's like their community. I know some of the names, but I don't know like everything that they're talking about. I know that he had a panel. He was reviewing a panel that Abe was on.
Okay.
So I know Abe and Sweet. What's her name? Nicole.
That's you were to say Sweet Meadow. Back from the beyond.
I know.
Sweet Meadow. Go ahead.
But anyway, yeah, I do pay attention when
I don't,
yeah.
but I will. Sometimes it does. Like there was a couple times when it came up when people tagged me on it. And I was like, who's this bitch talking about me? I don't even know who this hoe is. How'd I piss her off?
Everybody talks about ATX.
I mean, I'll take my dues, but damn, I don't even know who you are.
This is the big relevant word. But I try to, if somebody like puts my name in it because of something that they want to talk about, I try to check it out.
Thank you.
That's what I try to do.
That's
so,
very cool.
Anyway, I do.
That's good to know. I guess I thought. Oh, I do remember that now. He was reviewing Abe and.
It was Abe,
and
Sweet Nicole. I mean, people that we crossed paths with. Like for a hot second, I hung out in G Mango's chat for a little bit, and those folks were in there. Sometimes. But anyway,
I'm gonna grab the thing. Oh, I turned the light on. The thing that I grabbed for Trash Panda because she wanted me to get it, and by chance, I grabbed it anyway. She already.
Yellow gummy watermelons. Whew.
Hold on. Oh, that reminds me too. Do you know that Foodie Beauty accidentally took a gummy and she was high as a kite?
Was she?
Eating everything, and now her man is not very pleased with her.
I know, Panda. You can't tell people I'm Bigfoot. It's just a big outfit that I'm wearing. Table's lurking today. Hey, Marilyn, what's up?
Hey, baby.
I want to talk a little bit about when Mandi comes back. Did you guys see who DC Media and Negs had on their podcast today?
It's not squishy, but it is. I was like, I hope she doesn't think it's.
Is that the one you got for Panda?
Yeah. It was. Yeah, go ahead. Now that was it. Who saw her interview?
Did you see that? I mean, so I'm at work, and anybody that's ever man, and it's not woman, that's in their 50s or like even Neg said, I'm 46, so I know. So basically, from 45 to 75, anyway, they had Ginger Lynn, the porn star, was on their podcast. I didn't really get to see much of it because I was at work. But I was like, okay.
We watched the replay.
We watched some of the replay, but my coworker, I was like, hey, dude, not for nothing, but this little YouTube thing that I do, because there's a couple people that kind of watch us from my work. And he's like, yeah. I said, so these two people that are that do YouTube, I kind of know one of them. They have Ginger Lynn on their podcast. He was like, he kind of said, really? And I said, you know who Ginger? He goes, I know who she is.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Can you pin it, Karen, the stream? She's been like DC Media's interviewed her a couple of times.
Well, Ginger Lynn, if you go back to I don't want to date myself, or I don't want to be disrespectful, but say like the mid 80s until to the early 90s or whatever, or the early 80s to the early 90s, and you were told to say 5 female porn stars, she would probably be one of the names that most people would know.
Yeah, she was. You'll have to watch it. It was good. She was talking about how she was with Ron Jeremy one time, and she was like, he was so ugly, that she would only do it doggy style because she didn't want to look at him.
Anyway, yeah.
No, but I mean,
they asked her about like the
won't give all
Tracy
their-
Lord scandal about her being underage, and she was basically saying that it wasn't true, and it's interesting. It was an interesting podcast.
Dr. Phil's calling it quits on his show.
Is he?
Yeah.
I'll give him a holler.
We were
We'll
on
have
our
him.
way.
We'll have him on.
I
ATX
think our troll
Tomahawk.
ran out of money because now but instead of super chats now they're saying the same thing without you out of money.
Only $4. Only
was-
$2.99. Come on now.
It was funny.
Go get about 5 of your friends and make the mods work a little bit.
And if you send us 50, he'll answer it.
I will. I'll read it out loud. I promise you. I don't have my glasses on, so I literally don't know what they said.
Hey, Chris, how are you? He really doesn't.
I don't. I mean,
Y'all are good
I'm
about
looking at you. Like, if I really want to see what's being said, I'll either do this or I'll grab the phone.
So $50,
I don't know.
he'll answer it.
Yeah. Anything you want.
But yeah, so anyway, y'all give it a watch. Not now, but after the after this, watch it. It's interesting. I do know a lot of people from the golden age. Let me pin it real quick. But see, I always tap it instead of pin it.
I always remember, okay, so do you guys remember when you got your cable box, right? And you wired in, thank you, Trash Panda. And you wired in.
Oh, Trash Panda, thank you. I'm sorry. Go.
No, I'm just thanking her. I mean, it's.
You don't have a question. She didn't have a question though.
I mean, no question. Oh, you're not trolling. You meant. Okay, cool.
Thank you, though. Really, I
you.
appreciate it. I absolutely, we really do. You're the world Bigfoot. He is the real Bigfoot.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Go ahead.
But so when I was listening to that, and I was remembering being a teenager in the 80s, and remember like Playboy Channel or what some of those other channels. So what you had is you had your regular TV, right? Because there wasn't all these high def TVs and this and that. So you had to take your cable box and you had to take your coaxes and you had to plug them in. You had to take your TV and put it on like channel 4. You had to be on channel 4, and then you fed your cable in. So if you had one of those if you had one of those TVs that you turned back and forth, you really couldn't do it. But so what you did is you took your remote or whatever you had, and it was on channel 4, and then your cable would go through. Let's say a Playboy Channel or whatever that channel would be like channel 44 on the cable box, right? You don't get it, they scramble it because your parents don't get it. So what you had to do is, but if you had your cable plugged in and you turned it on the TV to channel 3 instead of channel 4, it went one back on the cable box.
How did y'all figure that out?
Because I accidentally, you would have it
and it
on because if you were playing your video game or something, you had to have it on like channel 3 to play your video game.
Okay.
So if the Playboy Channel was channel 44 and you were on 4, what you did is you just turned the cable box to 45, and then you turned it on the TV to 3, and it went to 44. And then it was still scrambled a little bit, but you could,
That was on American Pie, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. When you're just kind of looking, you're kind of trying to figure out, but you could see it and you could definitely hear it.
Jocelyn
you could definitely get the audio.
Sounds like
It's 80s teenage boy struggles.
The other funny story we were talking about is when we first, probably the second time I visited, not the first time, but me and the brothers and everybody were sitting in the living room, and his mom was like, "What I'd like to know is when we moved out of the house, what street was it in?"
On Carly Lane.
On Carly Lane, she was
we lived in Roswell when we lived down in Atlanta.
There were VHS tapes in the wall, right? Mm-hmm. In the wall, you found like a little place.
So the bottom of the basement, half the basement was finished. It was like a little like room for the kids, like a playroom, like but for teenagers. It was down in the basement, so everyone kind of slept for 2 stories up. So you could go down there and you could listen to the radio, listen to TV, without bothering people. So it was kind of now the other half of the basement wasn't finished. It was just the pole, the girders and everything, and then all the insulation. Well, the hole that they're talking about, I had gone like up in the very back where like all the lawn equipment was, and crawled up and like literally bore a hole in the drywall.
For that purpose, and I'll tell after he.
And it was like my little like secret Al Capone vault,
So
it was a piece of, and it was up over. So I climbed up the ladder. So I'm looking like kind of in between the floors, right? And then took a little piece of drywall out and pushed all the insulation away. And I had this little hole. It was like a squirrel nest, and I used to keep all kinds of stuff in there.
So when we were sitting in the living room, his mother goes, "I'd like to know which of you put the VHS, your adult VHS tapes, in the drywall." And his one was like, I didn't do it. I mean, I watched him, but I didn't do it. And his other brother was like, "No, I didn't." And Sean's coming through. He was like, when I was like, VHS tapes, I guess, that were in the wall. He goes, "They were mine, and where did they go?" Nobody else wanted to own it or rat Sean out.
Because I was the oldest son. I was the oldest son, so I had left that house. I was gone off.
He's like, I came back for him.
Yeah, and they ended up moving, from Roswell up to Dawsonville. But yeah, I mean, I don't see why I couldn't just own it. I mean, that was like 25 years ago,
Your mom was like, "Christopher, you've watched those types of movies?" And he was like, "Mom, who hasn't?" And I think at that point she was just kind of like being funny, but she goes, it was so funny. She was like, "Christopher, have you?" So when he came in, I was like, "There, I guess videos." And Sean was like, "They were mine.
They weren't his. I didn't give them to Chris."
It was like... so funny. And then at this right now, it's probably vintage VHS. I wonder. I need to ask what your mom did with them after she pulled.
I'm not even quite sure what was all on there.
How did she find it?
And a lot of it was VHS tapes, like taped, like somebody would pay-per-view something or whatever, and then you put the VHS, because these days you can't really. I mean, you have DVR, you have everything you buy, but back in the 80s, if you had a VHS player and you had tapes, that was gold.
You could record anything,
and it was, and you had to you can't go back to a VHS tape from 30 or 40 years ago now, because it erodes. It doesn't keep its integrity. It's very, very hard to find VHS tapes that actually
But remember, if the little thing was pushed out, you couldn't tape over it, but you could put a piece of tape over it.
With cassettes, too. Cassettes were like that.
My mom, we had a huge home movie collection of actual movies. It was like, she even cataloged it. It was really cool. She typed out what was on each one, and she would take the commercials out and whatever. And it was a pretty good supply of VHS tapes. So
when I was stationed in Germany from 92 to 95.
Probably, Karen.
There was no cable there. So I think one of the real popular shows back then was Martin, Martin Lawrence show. And so I had a friend whose family would send him VHSs just full of them, full of stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Karen's probably right. She said that probably when they did the inspection, when they sold the house, that they found
it. Might have been that's what it was.
They probably, then... She's like, I miss going to the rent movies at the video store. I do too.
Blockbuster.
Yep, I'm from 95, but yes, for Christmas she buy my brother and I unisex movies like Tarzan or right?
Yeah.
And now those are. Oh, I thought you were up. It says upset alert. I thought he was getting outbid on something.
No, it's Tennessee's getting beat, and this is a basketball. But I was looking. Because 96 Rock, anyone that's from Atlanta, 96 Rock was our radio station back, when in the 80s when I was in high school. So I was looking to buy a license plate, not for the car, because we're going to put a Georgia one on there, but like for the back room there next to my Grateful Dead tapestry or whatever. And so when you're looking at the 96 Rock, all these other nostalgia stuff comes up. Like, remember the record store Turtles? Strawberries. There was all these old store Blockbuster that no longer exist. There was all this like memorabilia from those type of stores.
That's very cool.
And so I took a second to.
Hey, DC Media came in. We plugged
DC
the show,
was
and then got into.
So I'm at work, and Clara.
I was
and-
so proud. I was
and-
like
and
sending the link
I'm
out. I was
sitting
like,
there, and he goes, "Hey, they have this
very cool.
Ginger Lynn on," and I looked to my buddy who I work with. He's like in his 60s, and I'm like, "Hey, yeah, that YouTube stuff that we're doing." I'd already said this to the rest of the.
Wow.
He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, these people that we know, they have Ginger Lynn on their podcast," and he kind of looked at me, and I said, "You know, and you know who?" And
Well,
I
yeah,
didn't
I
even
know.
finish. He goes, "I know who she is."
Have a good night, Loretta. Thank you. I'm going.
But that's like, yeah. So that happened today.
She's a very she seems to be a very, very cool chick. Trash Panda was talking about her aunt who passed away had over 1,000 VHS. She left them to them because we loved watching movies together. That's very, very cool. Yeah, that's very cool. I have a Tonetics VHS that I'd love to put on a DVD.
But that's what we used to do. That's what we used to do is not even DVDs. It was the VHS stuff. And so if you're in Germany or you were stationed overseas in the 90s, that's how you kept up.
And I didn't know that there were places you go put coins in and watch porn.
You didn't know any of that?
No, was it like a place?
Yeah. It's like little peep shows.
And
So you go to like an adult store or whatever it is, and you walk in, and so back behind this curtain, there's like these little stalls that people would go in, and I guess they just feed money into this. They pick a movie that they want to watch, and they feed money in it, and you get 3 minutes or whatever of something.
And you have your own space.
I guess so, yeah. Apparently,
and that's fine. I've told DC before. I think that the golden age of adult movies is intriguing. I really think that it's
because
interesting.
it was real.
But I didn't know
you didn't have a lot of fake stuff going on. I mean, there were the age of fake boobs were.
She said there was only 50 like adult stars that people really knew who they were at the time.
Ginger's probably top 5. If you told me write it down, and most guys anyway, you say write down 5, and she'd probably be one of the names. But the other thing is that back then, like someone that was doing porn, it was in the, adult movies, they could have a career for a few years. These days,
top 7.
Yeah, these days, someone's like you said, a few months.
Yeah,
you see somebody new, a few months, they're doing whatever they're doing, they're gone, and it's somebody else because of the different methods and ways that you can. Get whatever product that you want to get.
Yeah.
It's all kinds of ways.
The
Back
porn
then,
from the 70s is definitely fuzzy porn. Nobody shaves or waxes or it's full on.
That it's real.
Yeah.
It's real. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. That was interesting. And then there was one other question I was going to ask that DC would know. Pre-internet was completely different.
And actually I didn't, when I watched Boogie Nights, when I saw that movie, and they were talking about how it transitioned from, reel to reel type stuff, I guess with 8mm. I don't really know what that is. When it switched over to VHS, how it changed everything. It changed the whole industry. I think she talked
about that a little bit today.
I didn't know any of that stuff until I watched that movie, and that's kind of that was part of it. That was kind of part of.
So they were saying that Tracy Lords, there was a debate whether or not they knew she was underage or didn't know she was underage, and that I mean you'll see it in the interview, but. My question is like the definitive, was she underage?
Well, here's one of the telling things is
was she
if
underage?
you go right now to your Google browser and you type in Tracy Lords whatever, put whatever you want in there, Tracy Lords F, or whatever, it will come up and you can see those movies. They're right there, right in Google. No, but the thing is it's not like it's there. It exists. So it
but not to buy. Well, I mean, you can buy them under the table, or so to speak.
But I'm talking about if you go into any of these porno.
No, I don't think you can.
I'm telling you,
she wasn't okay.
Everybody take 5 minutes to do it right.
What I was under the impression is the second they proved that those videos that she made, she was underage. they said it was illegal to sell it, buy
Well,
it,
and as
have
it should be. And it might be that those actual ones you can't see. Maybe that's it. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what it is. I don't know her catalog or any of
Hey,
that.
Mama Ricky. Yeah,
But
it's just interesting. It says, greetings, human. This is Mama Ricky. Gloriousness of Planet Me. Please grab a ticket and enter single file, and you shall be served with laughter, love, and fun. If your party popper is off,
all of that, Mama Ricky, and you weren't held for
and you
review
weren't
at
held for
all.
review.
Very nice.
Anyway, I thought that was interesting, and I thought that it was interesting that that she that she owns it even years later. Like, it was like Shannon Rose, who's on YouTube, who now has a family channel, but she was a porn star, and she'll do story times that she does on Patreon and stuff about the crazy stuff. But she says she had it to do over again, she wouldn't have done it because it's out there forever. And DC touched on that earlier too about OnlyFans. These people during COVID,
I did hear that part. I was listening
these women were like, okay, I want to make $10,000 a month, and they put a bunch of shit on OnlyFans. One person that now that we know is everywhere, and they didn't realize that it's forever, and it was gonna get out past that site.
But I also think, like, okay, so the porn stars from 35 and 40 years ago, right? The next generation or two generations, like, they still know who they are. I mean, they still know the people that were that were doing porn in the 80s and 90s, let's say. The ones that are doing the porn right now, in, let's say, 5 years ago, from, like, say 5 years ago, the number, I mean, maybe the top couple names, Stormy Daniels is in the news because of her and President Trump. They're back in the news. They're going back at it.
We know who Stormy is. Where they made a video together, and it's coming out. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not so sure about. But the thing is we know her. Yeah. But I mean, when you look at this, I'll throw a name out there, like Mia Khalifa, right? She was like one of the top porn stars just recently, right? But her career was very short-lived, and nobody's going to know who she is 10 years from now. For that,
you don't think?
I don't think so.
I
certainly not the next generation won't. But people are going to know. That's another difference. It's the longevity and the pioneers, I guess, if you will, of it.
Did she with Deshaun Watts, right?
That was Deshaun Watson, yeah.
She made a video with him.
This is the whole thing. Now, Deshaun Watson went to high school right over here in Gainesville. My oldest daughter went to high school with him. He played college football at Clemson, and then he went on to the NFL. He was the one that got that great big scandal because of he was bringing the massage artists in, the masseuses, and getting a happy ending. I don't know if you follow it. It transcended out of the sports world and into mainstream, news.
You think
this is a guy with $400 million career on the line? I think what happened to him is he got disgruntled in Houston, and he said, "I want out of Houston." And he got into it with the owner. And these NFL owners are pretty powerful people. And he's, Deshaun Watson being, in my opinion, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He bumped heads with this guy and demanded a trade. And the owner of the Houston Texans was like, "Oh, you're going to leave Houston, but this is how you're going to leave Houston." And he did a pretty good job. And so Cleveland comes in, regardless of all the scandal and indictments and all this against him, they still signed him to this huge contract to which just goes to show, if you can play football, or if you can play a sport, or if you can generate money in this country, you can get away with a lot.
It makes sense.
And so, but the point is that a lot of us know parts of his family that it's kind of like living here in Dawsonville, where Bill and Chase Elliott live here in Dawsonville. Kind of the family's around, And so here is Deshaun Watson, who kind of goes to ground, is out of the spotlight. And he was never charged with anything criminally. and I'm not sure about the civil case, but he beat his case. Basically, he didn't have enough people come forward. Most of the gals were like, we
knew
what. It's not like he was coercing us into anything, and nobody did anything against their will, apparently.
Yeah.
But it's still, in this culture that we're in, we have to set an example, whatever. This guy is a top athlete. He can do stuff like that.
So
and he's got the money. So anyway, during this whole thing, as it's blowing over and people are forgiving him and he's about to go back out on the football field, this video emerges of him and Mia Khalifa, who's a retired porn star. She's dressed in a maid's outfit and they're in one of his condos, roughhousing, playing basketball, and she's playing basketball with a half of a maid's outfit on. Deshaun, dude.
Did they actually do anything in the video?
No.
Oh, okay.
But still,
That is funny, though.
Anybody else in the video but her. It's like bro doesn't give one fuck about what people think.
He's like, and that brings up another bit of gossip. Jeffree Star posted something saying that his team, he said, your team may not have made the Super Bowl, but you're something in the bedroom.
Yeah,
it's Jeffree Star in the backside of an athlete. And I was like, who could it be, Sean? They're saying that they're sorry. And you looked at the backside and you're like, there's no way to figure out. And he's dressed, of course.
Yeah, but Jeffrey's been doing that for the past few weeks. And if you listen to what he's saying, he would lead you to believe that it was a playoff team. And then you can, narrow the teams down. I really don't care about that. I mean, I think it's more about Jeffree Star.
I'm just curious who it is.
Yeah, I would be curious, but not to the point where I would want to investigate it. Jeffree Star needs to stop doing that. I mean, whatever people do in their bedroom is their business. It doesn't matter who.
Jocelyn said, I one time sent my ex $1 on Venmo to unblock me. So whoever is paying to hate is really. We've seen that in our community. Someone who, because she wanted to get a hold of the guy that had blocked her on everything so bad that she sent him Venmos and Cash Apps so she could put a message in it and he would see it. It was like, oh yeah, we get paid for short videos now.
Hey.
So anyway, that
on that topic, what kind of short videos?
That is funny though, Jocelyn. So the other thing is Ozzy Osbourne has officially retired.
Really?
And that's what they said. He's officially retired.
That hurts me worse than Tom Brady retired.
Does it really?
Oh.
But I mean, he was.
But I mean, Ozzy's one of those guys that you can't understand a damn thing he's saying. But when he gets out there and sings, it's beautiful. That's just, and it's been that way for many, many years. It's excruciating watching Ozzy in an interview or when he's doing that show with his son Jack. And what's his daughter's name?
I can't ever remember.
But it's brutal to listen to him just speak. But he can still go out there and sing his ass off.
He said that that Gene Simmons, he never got into drugs. He didn't like them or whatever. Even when
Gene Simmons?
Yeah. His thing was sex.
Oh yeah.
And he said probably he'd guess 20,000 girls. And he was with that woman forever, right? The blonde
Shannon
girl?
Tweed. It's still his partner. They never got married.
And had kids.
And they have kids together, but they've never actually got
care?
married. Shannon Tweed.
She's like,
I mean,
she's beautiful, but where did she come from?
She's a model.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He said for all of the money that everybody else was spending on drugs, if you equated, he didn't pay for it, but the amount of sex he was doing, that was his thing.
That was his thing. And
Amy and Kelly.
Kelly Osbourne, that's it, yeah.
Okay.
If you ever watch Shannon Tweed, an interview with Shannon Tweed, and they ask her about, him and this and that, she's a very cool chick. I mean, if you listen to her talk about it, that would be the type of mindset and attitude taking on somebody that's banged 25,000 people or whatever and expecting them to have some sort of respect.
Yeah.
Imagine
Charlie Sheen. Jocelyn, did you know, speaking of Charlie Sheen, the Ginger, the one we were just talking about, dated him.
I think that's true, right? Isn't that
No,
what they
it's
said?
true. It's absolutely true. Yeah, I don't know. There you go. Held for review, Mama Ricky.
There you go.
His two daughters. Imagine being blackmailed over your HIV status. So Charlie Osborne has it.
Jack. It's Jack Osborne.
Okay.
That's
well,
Ozzy's
no, I
kid.
don't. He might be. She might be talking about something else. I'm not. Anision has a new book out. Don't waste your money. Yeah, I wouldn't. He's a weirdo.
Anision used to holler at ATX back in the day.
Yeah, I liked something of his on YouTube, on Twitter or something, and he sent a DM and said, "Hey, what's up?" And literally, but
Yeah.
I didn't say anything back. So I'm not the slut that everybody thinks. I saved it all for Sean. Well, I am a slut, but I'm Sean's slut.
That's it.
Stitching's right. X Table says Aussie forever. The entire nation of Finland can't be wrong. That's very cool.
He was. I mean, I'm not a huge Black Sabbath fan. I thought that when Ozzy was, Diary of a Madman, that album, I can listen to every track from beginning to end. Randy Rhoads at guitar. Randy Rhoads died at 23 years old, and so if you can put it into perspective, I think he was 21 when they recorded that album. Listen to him play guitar on Diary of a Madman, and
how did he die? Drugs?
It was a plane crash.
Oh.
It was like they were messing around or something like that with a prop plane, and they crashed it or something like that.
Wow.
Awful. I mean, but so Ozzy Osbourne, when Bark at the Moon album came out, Jakey Lee was his guitarist. And on the track Bark at the Moon, I was 14 or 15 when that album came out, and his Pearl White Washburn that Jake played, I almost went and I was almost a rock star, but not quite.
You are almost a rock. You're still almost a rock star.
And but Ozzy Osbourne, yeah, through the years I've been a big fan of his. So yeah, that sucks.
Mama Ricky, I also saw the Hubs. What was on Instagram? And I said, this is Mama Ricky's husband, right? Was it Instagram?
The health problems? Or?
No. Just hit that I saw yesterday. I said, oh, he's a cutie. I don't know. I think it might have been Instagram. I'm not sure, but I saw y'all had your little masks on or whatever, and I was like, oh, go Mama Ricky, what a cutie. And then Stitching says I think she's right. Shannon Tweed said that he either had to, after years and years, he had to marry her or she was leaving and he married her.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, and it
he almost didn't,
sense.
I think.
Well, and she, I think that it had, if I remember, it has nothing to do with the money or whatever. Like, that was always her thing. Mm-hmm. It was that she was like, if something happens to your health, I'm not even allowed to make final something like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, something like that. He is. You're exactly right. He 6'2" and he's hot. It was on Facebook and Instagram. You're very welcome.
Do you think Gene's hot? I mean,
no. Mama Ricky thinks his Hubs is hot.
I thought we were talking about Gene.
He is.
Because I think Gene Simmons is tall. I think he's tall.
He's the one that has the tongue that drops down to here, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
did you see how that was said? Not the long tongue, the tongue that drops down to here.
That's what I was like. He's the one that was his big thing, right? Yeah. Stick his tongue out.
And he breathed the fire and all that and spit blood. He was the
when Ozzy bit the
bat.
Oh my gosh, Mama, he didn't mean to bite the head off. It just happened.
I don't think
someone threw it on stage and then he accidentally.
He thought it was fake.
And then it became a thing, right? He started doing it more often, or no?
No, that was just a very iconic story that crazy.
Years later, he goes, I had no idea. It was.
It was something like he had to get rabies shots or something like that, but I don't know.
Mama Ricky, who was the one that we watched? Was it Axl Rose that carries his microphone on the pole around with him? And you said that was his thing?
No, Freddie Mercury did that.
On it? No, I know he did, but we were watching.
Yeah, Axl does that. I mean, a lot of the rock stars carry their whole. I mean, Steven Tyler does it for Aerosmith.
It's set the way they want it.
We were watching Aerosmith the other night,
and he tied scarves on it.
And the scarves,
and then he throws
bras
the scarf
and
out
stuff. Yes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I heard girls
Most
throw
of them.
panties on the stage.
I
And
don't
stuff
think
like
do
that.
they. I don't think they do it anymore.
No, but back in the day they did.
They did to Elvis.
Did they?
Yeah,
They would take their bra and stuff off and throw it at
I
him.
think the panties, but I think they had a spare like pair in their purse.
And I
to
don't think he
throw.
would be into that.
I don't
Like,
think they literally
he's
freaking
not.
just did that there. I think they
No,
had.
I think they did take them off and throw them.
Maybe. I mean, Elvis drove crowds crazy. So
The other also thing I had no idea. Did you know that Priscilla Presley has a son? That Lisa Marie has a half brother.
wow.
Still a half brother. Even made some music, but didn't really make it. And I could see they probably were constantly like, "Oh, Priscilla Presley's like, yeah, but my dad was not," and they were like,
Yeah.
just falling short.
Yeah.
He couldn't use.
I mean, by like marriage, it's like saying that my uncle,
Yes.
my uncle was a professional baseball player, but Mandy would be like, it's my uncle by blood. You're just married into.
No,
the
but I
family.
mean, you
But
know,
that's
I
kinda
see what you're
like,
saying.
though, yeah.
But it appears that's what he kind of followed in the shadow of. And he got married in Sweden, I guess, a couple years ago, or maybe even just a year ago, and Lisa Marie was there. But when it said something about her half brother, and I was like, she don't have a half brother. And it was like,
Looked it up.
she does.
That's what Wikipedia
His
is
name is
for.
Navarone. His dad was, I think, from Colombia or something. And I think he still writes music, but
He wasn't the karate instructor, was he?
no, she didn't have. That's the one that she left
She
Elvis,
left
for.
Elvis and was seeing her.
Oh,
karate
and he was
instructor.
Elvis was gonna kill him. He was trying to hire a hitman to kill the karate instructor, and she was like, "You have fucked everyone."
That's right.
and
I know.
anyway, so it was interesting that that was all the things I found on YouTube last night.
But when you think about Shannon Tweed made Gene Simmons marry her, and you made it was a very good reason. I mean, these women that marry these rock stars take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
They do. I mean, when you look at Pam Corson and how she took care of Jim Morrison, even though he, did what he did, she was taking care of him all the way to the end.
And I think Sharon Osbourne, when that whole thing came out,
Sharon Osbourne's a
when
perfect
she filed
example.
for divorce and then she
Mhm.
took it back, she'll say, "I wasn't pissed off. Like it didn't surprise me that he'd had somebody else. It was that he was so stupid about it."
Wow.
She didn't like the
Same
fact
thing
that
Hillary Clinton
you
said.
make a fool, right? She
Yeah,
she
she's
was
like,
like,
"It's
you
not
make a
that you-"
spectacle of me
Yeah.
and
right.
make me look like whatever. Yeah, but I don't know.
But if you think about marriage, like even for normal people like us, we could do everything that we do right now without getting married. But I wanted you to be my wife.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
there were some things like health insurance, and she is an executor automatically because she's my wife, so she can handle a lot of things that. But I couldn't ever see it just like, we don't need to get married again. You've been married, I've been married.
But that's what when we decided,
Mhm.
we wanted to be together forever. I was surprised because I thought after you'd be like, we can be like, I can't do the marriage thing again.
You just want to do me if you little bit.
I was like, what? No, but I mean that said a lot because I was like, really, and Sharon Osbourne dragged a girl on a TV show because she said her husband was brain dead vegetable. It was so satisfying.
Wow.
Yeah, she's very, very protective.
Sharon Osbourne would be one woman to give. She'd be one to give that speech about stand by your man no matter what.
Yeah,
She'd be one of them to do it. She'd be one of them that you could listen to her and go, well, she ain't wrong,
Yeah,
or
she's
whatever.
like, don't make a fool out of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I thought she was significantly older than him, but she's not.
He aged terribly with the rock star. And
I thought she was 10 or 20 years older than him, but apparently she's not.
They're about the same.
She was his manager, right?
Something like that.
That's why I guess I thought that she was older. Because he made it in his 20s, right?
Yeah, he's been a rock. He's a rock
They say
star
if you don't get
forever,
discovered by 25 in that field, there's...
I mean, I was listening to... So the other day, the 31st, as I'm driving into work, and I have to get satellite radio for the car.
Yeah, we need to do that.
But one of the... I'm either listening to my iPhone plugged in to the or I like satellite radio. I rarely listen to the radio, but in the mornings I do because from about 8:30 to 9, 8:40 to 9, and that's my commute because it's pretty quick. Um, they have all this rock history on 97.1. You know, every day they have like some that this day in rock and roll. And so it was 1969, January 31st, 1969, Led Zeppelin. And the reason I've thought about this is because I think Robert Plant was like 18 or 19 when they released their first album.
Oh, wow.
And so it was the first time that Led Zeppelin was playing like in the Northeast, you know, like up in New England. They were not headlining. They were an opening band for Iron Butterfly, Inagata-Davida. You know that you don't know any of that. She's so much younger.
It's an
than me,
interesting
man.
story, though. Go ahead.
She's so, and they
Really, it is.
so they came on, and this is I like listening to these little tidbits. And it was Fillmore East where they were playing, and they rocked it. I mean, everybody already knew who Led Zeppelin was by 1969, but they rocked that show so thoroughly, and the crowd was so hyped that Iron Butterfly just didn't go on.
Really?
They just made Zeppelin that was it. That was the finale for the show. They didn't
wow.
even bring out the headliner after that. And
That's
I thought that was
interesting.
kind of interesting. And again, because we were talking about, Mandi was like, if you don't make it by the time you're 25, Robert Plant and gang were teenagers. I mean, they
Yeah,
weren't
what,
even like legally able to.
that's what I've heard.
Well, back then you could. Back
That's
then
always
you
been
could
my
drink, but,
nephew's thing. Is he's like, I've got to make it by 25 and whatever, and I don't know if he'll make it.
He
He's
could
not.
have.
He's
He's a very good guitarist.
He's
and
a
he's
very
really
good
good guitarist. But
Sharon did. You know, I realized the reason I didn't see some of these is because it was on Top Chat. Sharon Loft, Ozzy. Many times they were never apart long.
yeah.
Huh. Sharon Osbourne became famous on TV and became a real vile. Did she like? So she's like cutthroat in real life. It became a see you
She's
next
on,
Tuesday.
was it the View,
I'll
right?
always respect Ozzy. Sharon can
Yeah.
fall off a cliff for all I care. Apparently
yeah, who
he's
said
very
that?
Mama Ricky.
Nice.
Apparently she's yeah, she's something else. That's what I've heard. She had cancer. When she had breast cancer or something during
know that
the
she's a cancer
taping
survivor.
of the Osbourne thing, and her doctor was trying to say to keep her. They had a bunch of little dogs, keep them away from her because her immune system was low or whatever.
Wow.
And he was like, and Ozzy was trying to tell her to get it, get them away because whatever. And you couldn't understand what he was.
Can't understand anything.
She understands him.
Oh, of course.
But I mean-
so like, here's Ozzy Osbourne. So when they do the show, The Osbournes, there's probably never been a reality TV show with a less like.
He always has
Ozzy
subtitles.
Osbourne. He's the they have to. Mm-hmm. You know, whenever he says something, they have to do the little subtitles because. So here's a guy that's so famous that the show's called The Osbournes, and he's like the Addams Family. He's the dad in the family, and you literally that'd be like, all right, come over here, sit here. We're gonna film here. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we're gonna film this. He's like, ooh, and he does it.
They said even though he sounds like he's fried, which he for a certain point, mentally he's not. It hasn't done lasting damage. But he apparently did a lot of drugs.
He did a lot of drugs, and he's tried for several years to get a complete tour in. And because of his health issues, he's never been able to really
and he started
make good on
drinking
it.
again. And
Yeah.
He's not drinking now, but he did start drinking again, and it got really bad.
And the people that have played in his band, like Zakk Wylde has been his lead guitarist for most recently, and for a lot of the last year's decade or whatever. And the guys are real. If you ever listen to Zakk Wylde just talk, he's real gruff. He's kind of a jerk. He talks very, very, I won't say affectionately in that way, but the way he talks about Ozzy says it all. You know, people that are normally standoffish, dickheads, they all love Ozzy. They all love
Yeah,
me.
that's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, Stitching said she understands Aussie. She was saying that she understands a lot of British accents. So
Yeah,
it's the British
that's
accent
true.
combined with the
Yep. That's
he seems like a really nice guy when
the
you
very
see him.
first, when people ask the question, name an album, you can listen to every track from beginning to end. The first one I think of is Diary of a Madman, which was Ozzy had two, and like that was like 81 time frame.
When did they split up? Never?
Well, so Randy dies, and then they're kind of don't do anything for a while, and then but you can like all that Tommy Aldridge playing at the drums. He went on to other bands. Rudy Sarzo was played at bass, and Rudy Sarzo went on to be in Quiet Riot. Just everyone who,
see.
if you're the anointed one to be a guitar, like Oz, you become his lead guitarist. You go on to do other things.
Mama's Ricky wants you to know Bark at the Moon is her favorite.
The Bark at the Moon is with. You like the video? Because that's Jake E. Lee on that album, and the solo at the end of that song is phenomenal.
Oh, that's Jocelyn said they did a final tour almost 10 years ago. That's the one I went to for Black Sabbath. That's interesting.
They got Tommy. I like.
She loves the video.
It is a
I
good
was
video.
wrong.
Bark at the Moon was probably 84, 83, 84. I was like in 9th or 10th grade. I had that one on vinyl.
Really?
Yeah, I had that one. I had that record.
You need to start getting records again.
So Queensryche, Queensryche came out with Warning about that same time, because Queensryche really didn't break through until they did the Empire album. But I remember watching Queensryche open up for was it Iron Maiden? Might have been Iron Maiden. And they played the Operation Mindcrime album, and it's a concept album. But yeah, I could talk all night about like heavy metal and hair metal and stuff like that. That was kind of my thing.
He knows a lot about music and sports and interesting stuff, not just like old school for me is A Tribe Called Quest or Gangstar. Yeah, you're a little bit younger, aren't you, Jocelyn?
But that's still.
I don't know who Gangstar is.
Yeah, but that's just a different genre. But I liked 80s hip hop.
We need to do the hair metal.
That's channel, like I said, that's channel 43 on satellite radio.
Have a good night, Mama Ricky. Thank you for coming.
Thanks
You're
for coming in,
always a lot
Mama
of fun.
Ricky.
I'm laminating art. So exciting. I love laminating. When I worked at a daycare, that was my favorite thing to go laminate stuff.
She's very crafty like that.
I did love it. There's something about a good hot laminator that seals it just right.
Every once in a while, I've got to give Hobby Lobby a call and say, take everything off sale. Nothing's on sale for 2 hours.
That's not, well, the last couple days I've been hitting Target because I've been going, today my poor father-in-law, he was tired and he was trying to tell us about when she would be discharged, and he was trying to coordinate like when I started going that way or how long it would take, and I kept trying to explain it, and then finally I was like, he's too tired. So I went to the coming Target, which is like halfway there,
Yeah,
or something,
yeah.
and was waiting. He was like, okay, come pick us up, and I was like, I'm gonna head out from home in about an hour, and he was
which just
he was right, and I said, I'm just kidding, I'm
yeah, it gave her some time to do some shopping,
but not a lot of time.
No.
I don't know what I would use though. Packing tape works. If you get cheap packing tape and you're real steady-handed, you can laminate stuff with that. They also have self-laminating ones that you can buy, or you can even buy a little mini laminator. And if you have a Lakeshore nearby, Lakeshore Learning, they have a laminator.
Don't know about any of this.
I know about that. But we are going to go. The reason, other than you work tomorrow, is that I want to
do what?
Organize the. Well, that too, but the goodie bags. I use Scotch tape, but I need a book to put them all in. I use Scotch tape, but I need a book to put them all in. Stitching says, go to an office business. They have lots of storage. I missed something. I have too many pictures.
They're talking. Yeah, they're talking.
But I guess she wants to laminate pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Before we go, I just wanted to thank the trolls for
Didn't get our $50
for that. What would it be? $4.98 or whatever they
Well,
contributed.
it was random. I mean, I'll tell you, it was such a weird question. Like, it wasn't even really insulting. It was just a weird question that they asked in different ways. So I was like, that's why I said, oh, my battery's going down. I said, go ahead and you pay 50 and he'll answer it. But I guess they didn't have that kind of money, which leads me to believe I know who it was. You poor ass bitch.
That's wrong.
Okay.
It could have been a couple different poor ass bitches, but you know what?
Yeah, it could.
Using us for content. using us for content is not going to make you rich.
And the thing, the thing. Foodie Beauty people do that to her a lot. Give her $2 and
she keeps it moving, man.
She'll look and go. She won't read it. And she'll be like, "But thank you for your money," and then she'll keep going or whatever. But
it's true.
She misses her man. She misses her man. I'm like, yeah. I guess she got so stoned, Sean, and ate so much.
Oh, when she got back,
and then she said she wasn't stoned, so she did it. I'm sorry.
You guys. No, if you purge or clean out your system, rule of thumb, you can't go back to it with the same amount that you started with when you quit, because
Jocelyn's so funny. She's exactly right. She's like, I wouldn't be able to sleep knowing I gave someone $2 that I don't like.
4, because I bet it was the same person with 2 different. I don't think it was 2 different. It was. There's no one out there that the attack on.
It's someone whose friends have deep pockets.
Yes, the attack on ATX and Tomahawk. They have not been able to triangulate on us with any kind of massive power. They come in one troll at a time. So.
I have a space right over there. If anyone sends me a cease and desist, I'm gonna frame it and I'm gonna show you right where I'm gonna hang it, because I've never gotten one. So all of you, Sean says they've got them all the time. You got at least 2 or 3 when you were with her, right?
But a lot of times they didn't know where to send them. So sometimes they would come in and I would get them or whatever. Because they don't always have to send them certified or anything like that. You can put them right into a mailbox.
The problem is you have to have the money to enforce it. So
that has helped me in my job, because every once in a while someone will come in and they're like, someone will come to the post office and they're trying to serve somebody with something, but they know if they send a certified letter that
they have to sign for it,
that the postman's going to come up, knock at the door, and they need to get you, and you just don't have to accept it.
Yeah, we got a neighbor that doesn't.
And so I always tell them, no, this is how you get it to them without them. Like you can do it as a priority letter, or you don't have to have any signature confirmation. It's a good thing to have learned based on my experience with mail,
because they have to have proof that you've seen it.
So like somebody comes in to evict somebody and they're like, I got to do this letter or whatever. And I ask them if they want a return receipt or whatever. And they're like, yeah, but court, if you're not served a certain way, they keep continuing court. Yeah. So, someone will be like, hey, Sean, you know about this. And I was like, kind of. He says, how are we going to get this to where it gets into the people's hands that he wants to? And I'll just kind of tell them, you got to kind of surprise people, like send them, like make it look like it's a present or a package, like send it as like a flat rate letter that's got a tracking number, but don't do signature. So you can do signature confirmation. They don't know what it is. They think it's a present. And then with that tracking number, they can come to us and we can go into remote forwarding, which is what I'm under investigation for apparently. And we can prove that whole step of the way, like all the way to their mailbox. And then they can take that, we can notarize that, they can take that to a judge.
Yeah, Misty, you haven't missed, she's like, I'm so lost on the drama. It's a mess. It's a whole mess. Really, it's nothing even very interesting. It's just all stuff that leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's not even fun drama.
Just remember, anything that you've gone through in your past, use it as a lesson.
Yes, Panda, not worth it.
Use it as a lesson going forward.
Just laugh at it and move on. Sometimes it can be so grotesque that I laugh at it because I'm like, Oh my God, they're big mad.
They're big mad. I want to play that. Sometimes when I see certain things that get posted or whatever, I want to do that.
Yes.
That 6ix9ine, big mad, they mad. You know, I just want to just play that.
If you get trolled so bad, you start like making threats and
it's like, oh my God.
you're mad.
I've got the whole, it's like you got the whole left side of your brain where they're occupying, you know, the headspace. So.
I'm like, I'm trying to unload my Target here.
Yes, and you're sitting there.
I had a good shopping trip at Target. I'm feeding my chickens because I was gone. I don't have time for this.
You get added at something and you look at it, you're like, whew.
They're big mad.
Whew, they big mad.
Yeah. It's relative. You ready to go?
You want to go to bed?
Yes, I want to go to bed.
We're going to bed.
The one thing that I always forget is thank you for your support.
Yes.
First, but also the mods. I know that sometimes it's harder than other times depending on whatever, but you do a great job. But he doesn't see it at all. And I only catch it and you catch it. So that's why we don't say anything.
Oh, I don't see it all when it's live. Now, if it happens to be something that's on Twitter or there's a comment somewhere, she normally doesn't see it. And I'm not saying this for any other reason, is that normally the only time Mandi sees this stuff is if someone tells her it's there. So there's a lot of things I just go look at it and go.
You just keep in mind it's social media.
I said it. I'll say it again. It's what happened with Mandi and I over the last couple weeks. I just have to make sure she's okay, and she is. Because for me, it's like, it doesn't even really scratch. You know, it doesn't.
But I didn't have any idea how many people didn't like me until like.
It's first of all, it's not that many people that don't like you. It's like a small group of people that have a couple different Twitter accounts and stuff like that. Just look at the traffic. You can look at the traffic that goes through it. The people that have platforms that have taken pot shots at us, they don't hang out with those people that they don't.
I think it's that. I actually think it's kind of like,
it is.
I think it's funny because you can live. There's some people that know every single person that says something about them or knows who they. I got people. I was like, sometimes I'll see people have been talking shit, and it's someone I'm like, I don't know you.
I don't even know who they are.
I'm like, but
also as far as the mods go,
and Karen is the nicest person ever. Just don't cross her friends.
That's right.
Can you post like someone you don't know? Please don't. You guys are. They don't know? Yes. Thank you. They really, people that have given us a chance.
They tried.
Yeah,
I mean, they tried to come at us, a couple weeks ago or 10 days ago.
And they'll try again.
They'll try again. They just don't have, we're little YouTubers, we're not, big YouTubers. There's nobody around here that has enough people or enough, presence to really damage anybody else. But for the mods,
that was the biggest thing.
The mods is, if you guys are out here helping us out and, your names are out there and this and that kind of puts you guys in the crosshairs a little bit too. And, you're going to take a little bit of shit here and there.
Jocelyn,
so we appreciate that.
Jocelyn says they're drawing a picture with missing crayons. It's some weird shit my mom says. And that's pretty cool. That makes total incomplete. I'll be asleep when people get started reviewing our stream. I'll still be asleep.
I think it's weird when I wake up, my alarm goes off at 7:15 and I grab my alarm to hit snooze and there's like a notification. I'm like, that one started early. I mean, are they in another country? No, they're not. They're like in Maryland. I mean, they roll out of bed, typing this stuff out. And that's not healthy. It's not good for you.
It takes me a while to get started before I can. Anyway, thank you.
Thanks,
y'all.
Y'all
have a good night. Thank you.